Hello again and welcome to From the Desk of. I'm Tim Moody. I'm the Public Information Officer with the Randolph County School System, and I'm here with our Superintendent, Dr. Stephen Gainey. If you've been following our interviews over the past few months, you'll know that what we've been doing is getting out into the different schools to do our interview, and this month we are at Eastern Randolph High School. So Dr. Gainey, I thought it might be a nice idea to take a moment to talk about our host school and let you share with the community some highlights from Eastern Randolph.
Well, Tim, Eastern Randolph is a great school, has a great tradition. We've got a first-year principal. He's a veteran principal. He's first year here, and Greg Batten. Great staff. I think the sky's the limit for this school. Very excited to be here. If you come on this campus, it's just beautiful. All aspects of the campus are beautiful, and it's great kids here, great staff, and just looking forward to watching this school continue to grow and improve over time and take off. So we're very excited to be here. It's one of my favorite places. Of course, I say I have 31 favorite places to go to. We got 31 schools, but I do always enjoy my time on this campus because I enjoy interacting with the staff and students and the administration here.
Dr. Gainey, last week was National School Social Worker Week, and I know you saw the nice video that we posted on social media and also on our district website. Wanted to take a moment just to give a bit of a shout out to the folks in our school system that do such a great job for us. Vita Broadnex, Kendra Cranford, Michelle Futrell, Pacovia Kimes Lovett, Deborah Robbins, Susan Robbins, and Scott Hager. And they each have multiple schools that they serve as our social workers. But I know you would like to have an opportunity to talk about them as well.
Well, Tim, they're valuable members of our staff, and sometimes when people think about public school systems, they think about students and teachers, and they don't realize everything else that goes on to make a school system operate effectively, and social workers are right in the middle of that. We're standing right here in the media center. A lot of times people don't think about who runs the media center. The media specialist in here has to make sure all these resources are ready to go. But the social workers are always working with children, they're looking beyond what we may see immediate as far as needs for those children. And it's just amazing the amount of support kids get from social workers, and they're so skilled that a lot of times they provide this support and this encouragement, and they find resources for students, and they do it so in just a way that doesn't draw attention to the student or draw attention to them, but it's always, just like teachers, their number one interest is taking care of children. And it's just hats off to them because we couldn't do it without them. We need social workers just like we need all our staff members, and it's just great for there to be a week to recognize them and to honor them for the great work they do, because they play a huge role in getting students to the finish line, which is high school graduation.
Okay, we have made our way down the hall from the Media Center into Mrs. Burke's class here at Eastern Randolph High School. Dr. Gainey, I want to talk for a moment about Battle of the Books. That's always a big event on our school calendar. Last week, we crowned an elementary school and a middle school champion. Our elementary school champion was Southmont. Our middle school champion was Archdale Trinity Middle. But there may be some folks in our community that maybe are not familiar with the Battle of the Books. So can you talk about that event?
Well, Tim, it's a very interesting competition. The children have a list of books they read, and as I was talking to some of the kids, my understanding is some teams divide up. You read these books, I read these, but what happens is they go to this competition and they're competing against teams from other schools, and you have I guess you call it the moderator, and then you have the judges, and there's a set of questions, and the questions come from the state level, and it's so fun to watch when the question is directed towards a child and the whole team kind of confers about what the answer is, and just watching them share information. And but the children are so competitive, and they're really into it, and it's just another thing of showing. It's another example that shows that so many kids in our schools have different interests. These are children, they want that competition, and they want it surrounding the reading of books and their knowledge of multiple books. And so I just think it's interesting. I want to say thank you to the teachers. The teachers do a lot of great work to get them to that point, to the competition. And you see the pride in their faces and the parents' faces. So I went to the middle school event and also to the elementary school event last week, and it was 2 different days. And I can't tell you that there were that many seats open in the auditorium between the children and the teams, and then their parents and they're watching them compete. So just an exciting day for our school system. And it goes back to, we have children in this school system who want to be a part of performing arts. We have children who want to be a part of athletics. We have children who want to be a part of Battle of the Books and clubs, and just shows you the well-rounded and multi-interest kids we have. They have many different interests, and I just appreciate staff helping us satisfy the interests of children by being willing to support these activities.
Another big event on the calendar that involves not only our school district, but the Asheboro district, and also involves business leaders from the community, our board members, you and our directors and our leaders. And that's when all of these volunteers go into elementary schools and read to students. It commemorates Dr. Seuss' birthday each year. It's called Read Across America, and it was March the 2nd. I know you participated again this year and got into a few schools. What was that like?
Well, Tim, as you know, back in August of 2013, we started a program called Leadership Reads, where the leadership team members, the assistant superintendents and finance officer, and myself go out and read to elementary school classrooms. So really, Read Across America Day was just, to me, was another one of those days. Now, I don't say that another one of those days with any lack of excitement, because I love that. I love going in those classrooms and seeing the many different things these elementary teachers are doing with the children, and it's to get to interact with the elementary children. If you don't do things like that, you can miss that whole group of the student population. I mean, we're going to see the middle school and the high school students at the events that are after school, if not during the day. But if you don't make yourself get into the schools, you may miss those elementary children. So on that particular day, I actually was able to read in four classes at Grace Chapel and 4 classes at Farmer Elementary. And it's just exciting for me to not only read, but hear the questions. You know, we always go through and read the book, and they may ask a question or two about that, but they always want to talk about, you know, what goes on in my job, and we talk about the importance of reading. And I just think it's very important that adults, as many times as we can, that we model the importance of reading to all of our children, but particularly these young children, because if they build a good foundation, then they're going to be in a good position when they get to this level, at the high school level, because reading, as I tell them, reading is in every part of the school environment. We'll talk about, hey, do you read in the cafeteria? It takes them a few minutes and they realize, oh yeah, there are menus in there. Do you read in the gym? It takes them a few minutes, they realize now we have word walls in the gym. We have, obviously, there's rules on the wall, but we have PE teachers with word walls, just like in some of the core academic classrooms. So when you get the children to start thinking about where they use reading, by the time you leave a classroom, they realize that they've got to have it. And it's just, I think it's important that beyond what the teachers do, the rest of us as adults should be chipping in on that and reinforcing that. And equally exciting was, you told me somewhere about a week out before March the 2nd that we had somewhere, was it 100 slots that we had people reading?
We had a total of, well, all 17 of our elementary schools and in Asheboro City Schools as well had reading slots that were available. And yes, I think it was in excess of 100. So, and we had them all full. So that says a lot about the volunteers.
And it says a lot about the community. You know, there's a big community surrounding us and Asheboro City Schools. And to know that on that day, we had all those slots filled, and we had, you know, I saw the pictures. And it wasn't like somebody had to be, it didn't look, I mean, no one seemed unhappy going in there. I mean, I'll tell you that I'm not as skilled as these elementary teachers. So yeah, sometimes I'm sitting in there reading the kids and I'm like, wow, wow. They deal with this for 8 hours, you know,
right.
But it's exciting, and I'll tell you something else it does. It keeps you grounded and remembering what these teachers do every day, whether it be at the elementary, middle, or high school level. It reminds you the important role they play. And so a big thank you to the teachers for allowing us to come to their classrooms on this day, but I also want to say a big thank you to the teachers for allowing my leadership team and I to come throughout the year. I think that right now, I think I've read in more classrooms right now than I did all of last year. It's increasing, and as you know with Leadership Reads, that comes on request from teachers. Teachers make requests to you, and then we line them up, the reader from the leadership team. So it's just exciting, and again, the modeling of the importance of reading in their lives is what that's the number one goal.
Okay, we have made our way into a foods class here at Eastern Randolph High, and Dr. Gainey, I'm going to give you a chance to talk about the kitchen that we are standing in.
Well, Tim, this kitchen is exciting. It's beautiful here. You look around and cabinets and everything have been redone, and I just want to say a big thank you to our county commissioners. This is an example of what the 9-year plan that they fully funded, and as we've talked about before, in 2 short years they put $750,000 behind this plan that we presented to them for the first time in January of 2014, and like I say, in 2 short years they had it fully funded. And part of one of the projects was this kitchen to be redone. And ironically, we're standing in this kitchen and we're on the same campus where the visitor bleachers and the football stadium were redone as part of the 9-year plan. So big thank you to the county commissioners. We're standing here at one of the great examples of that 9-year plan. It worked for our school system and for our children.
Okay, taking a step back a few weeks, we had our monthly principals meeting at a different location. We typically have those right at central office, but we took it out to Victory Junction for a special occasion. More than just a principals meeting, we did some different things. Why don't you talk a little bit about that day? It was a lot of fun.
Well, Tim, this is my 4th year, and I've been wanting to do something different with the principals. And I just say this: if anybody's never been to Victory Junction Camp, they really need to go. I had a chance to visit the camp in January and was absolutely blown away. I had no idea. I'd never been on the site, and it's just an absolutely gorgeous place. And the what the camp is about and what they're trying to do for children is just exciting and fascinating, including that video that they use as their introductory video. But we took the principals and kind of got away from a regular principals meeting, and we really was probably the most unusual principal meeting they've had since I've been here. We brought in 3 guest speakers: Bob Shackelford from the community college, Darrell Fry, county commissioner, and Rick Powell. He's the president of PIMCO. And what I wanted to do with those guest speakers is I wanted them to have a chance to talk to our principals and talk about what's going on around our school system, because I want to stress, and I've tried to with our principals, and sometimes you need other people to help and bring their perspective to the table. But our school system, yes, we've got some very important work to do. But our school system is part of a larger situation, which is a larger community called Randolph County. And there are a lot of things going on in Randolph County outside our school system. And I want us to be partners with the rest of the county, not the county has their business to do and everybody around us has their business to do, and here we're going to do ours. No, the best way for everything to work well for kids and for the community is for us to be partners. So I just thought it was important for them to hear some different perspectives. You know, Bob Shackelford talked about leadership and effective organizations, what that meant to him. Darrell Fry talked about some of the economic conditions of our county and the work being done by the commissioners, and talked about the mega site. And then Rick Powell talked about his company and needs we need for workforce, and it aligned really well with what we've been doing with the Pathways of Prosperity, the Apprenticeship Randolph program we have. It just really was aligned. Rick Powell was, I don't know that I thought about the order that they were in, but it really went in a great order because Rick Powell ended the way he did with the workforce needs and some of the economic forecast issues that he talked about. I just thought it was a great day. We also had time for the principals to kind of dream. You know, one of the things I took away from Victory Junction Camp when I visited the first time was it's a place where, in many ways, dreams come true for children. And so, I think it's great what the staff does there for the children when they come to camp. And so we gave the principals some time to dream about what their school, some things may look like in their school 5 years from now, 2 years from now. Some out-of-the-box thinking for programming for children. And then we spent some time with the staff, which, I think that was really neat for our principals and for central office staff. We did some team building, leadership activities, and I just appreciate their staff taking the time to, Chad Coltrane, Tanya Hayes led that, and the staff worked very hard to plan the leadership activities, and it was just a great kind of break in the action for us, and we got to tour the camp, and I hope the principals enjoyed it. I hope they enjoyed a different pace for a principal meeting, because we have some great principals. We have some great leaders. But sometimes I think that if you can only stay focused on your business but so long, you got to make sure they're seeing everything else that's around us. And I hope that day gave them a picture of the exciting situation the Randolph County School System's in. There's an economic development project right in our backyard that can really be a big player for this whole county and for our school system down the road.
So Dr. Gainey, a buzzword that we've been hearing a lot lately, and we talked about it at a central office staff meeting this morning, was makerspace. And makerspace, the concept is not new, but the terminology I think we're hearing for the first time. But I suspect we have quite a few who don't really know what makerspace is. It's in our schools. Tell us what that is.
Well, Tim, when people think about makerspace, I think a lot of times they think about technology, and then the makerspace is a setting just completely, filled with all kinds of technology for children to use, and that's not really what it has to be. It can be technology, it can be high-tech stuff, or it can be stuff that's not high-tech, and it really is a place for children to go and dream, explore, invent. It's a combination of a home economics lab, it can be an auto mechanics lab at the same time and a science lab. It can be a combination of all those activities going in the same place. But really, I read this quote by an individual, and one of the words they used about makerspace was, it's not only a place for exploration and experimentation and invention, but it's a place for tinkering, where people, children go in and they get to use their imagination and create things. And part of learning, in my opinion, is letting children's imagination get engaged in the learning environment. And so makerspace is becoming a bigger issue as we move forward. We're going to have two settings at the URI School Project, a makerspace setting for the middle school level and a makerspace setting for the high school level. And I say that because that's what the plan is. But I imagine 3 or 4 years from now, there's going to be more than one middle school setting and one high school setting on that school facility. But makerspace settings are becoming more and more prevalent throughout our school system, and we're dealing with a different type of child now. And I think if you look back through history, children change throughout history, and it's because of the environmental influences, societal influences. And children are now, they want to apply their learning to building and projects and exploration and project-based learning and problem-based learning, and makerspace brings all that together. So it's exciting to see the commitment from teachers and staff to move in that direction. And here's what's exciting about it. There's no model to say how it's supposed to end. It ends the way the children's creativity takes it, in whatever direction their creativity takes.
Okay. So now you just alluded to the URI School Project. We've talked about that previously. Probably worth updating the community who perhaps do not know that URI Middle School is transitioning to a grade 6 through 12 school. Could you just sort of give us an update on the status of that?
Well, Tim, on the last video we had just received word of the funding from the commissioners. They have, I want to reiterate, as we talked about this nice kitchen and the stadium, what the 9-year plan did, the county commissioners have already funded the URI School Project for next year. They did that February 6th, and again, a big thank you to them for helping us with this project. But in the last month, we've had informational sessions with parents and students. We're now in the process of taking applications, and the project is rolling forward. We're making plans with staff on how the class schedules are going to look, working on coming up with a name for the new school, because it's going to be a 6-12 school now. So a lot of excitement. Applications are coming in. We have a lot of 8th graders that are at URI Middle School right now who are very excited and want to stay through high school. So more to come as the spring goes along, but the project's moving forward. And again, want to say thank you to the commissioners for funding this project, and also want to say thank you to the staff. There's some central service staff that's working very hard, and the staff at the URI Middle School is very excited about the future of that school, and they have put a lot of work into it. Anthony Grosh and Laura Pop have done a great job of leading different sessions and leading staff, and many other staff members have been involved as well.
We have moved into a mobile unit here at Eastern Randolph, and Dr. Gainey, just to close out the interview, we'll just talk about the fact that we are entering, I guess you could say, the home stretch for the school year, within 50 days of the last day of school. So considering that, if you had all the teachers and administrators and school staff in front of you right now, can tell them, give them some advice as we head down these last few months, what would you tell them?
Well, Tim, one of the things I'd say is I'd point out that, you know, the first of the year we start out with very few interruptions up until about, I guess it's about Veterans Day. And then you start getting into some of the holidays. You've got the November holiday, the December holiday. Then January, we have holiday and the end of the first semester with exams at the high school level. So January is a little bit back and forth as far as being in and out of school. And then we may have some weather. We have one weekend with some weather that costs us 3 days of school. But when you start going after January, things kind of settle in, and we've had a good run now. We've been in school since the end of January continuously, no weather interruptions, and we're coming up on spring break. So what I would remind staff is we have about 3 weeks before spring break. Let's take advantage of this uninterrupted time, close out this window as strong as we can, and then take advantage of the uninterrupted time from spring break to the end of the year. There's a lot of instructional time left, and we need to take advantage of that, because really, to go back between the start of the second quarter and the end of the third quarter, there are a good number of interruptions. But that first quarter, it goes very smoothly, and there's very few times out of school, and now we're getting ready to get past spring break, and we'll have a good solid run for continuity with the students, preparation for upcoming assessments, as well as finishing out the curriculum that needs to be covered. So let's take advantage of it and finish the year on a strong note.
Okay, so then to close it out, anything else that you're focusing on or you want to share with our community?
Well, as we're, I always said in the school business, once you pass the winter holidays, you're really running 2 school years. You're finishing the current school year, but beginning to think about the next school year. And so, we are making plans. We're out going to job fairs, recruiting teachers for next year. We're looking at what our needs are going to be for next year. We're looking at budget concerns at the state level. What are those concerns how are they going to impact us, if they impact us? And yesterday was a clear example of things we're doing. We had all the student teachers that are currently in our school system with us, and we met with them and talked to them about, what our school system's about. They've learned a lot as student teachers, but hoping they'll take an interest in us and want to come work with us. We get good information back from the cooperating teachers of these student teachers, so we've had to get very good quality student teachers from the universities around in this area. So we're beginning to look at the recruiting pieces and working with our principals. We're getting ready to talk about allotments of positions for next year with our principals, getting ready to have those meetings. So a lot going on. That fourth 9 weeks is, and even about midway to third 9 weeks, if not a little bit further up in the year, there becomes a lot of overlap. And people don't realize principals are doing a lot of planning for next year right now. Mm-hmm. You can't wait till August to start planning for a school year. And so exciting times, but it's never a dull moment in the school business. And if you haven't worked in a public school system, you really don't know. And that does concern me, some of the decisions being made at the state level, because it is important that you really know what goes on in the school system, because some of the decisions being made at state level, if they're not made in the right way, they can really impact us negatively. Conversely, they can really help us positively if made in the right way. So put a lot of trust in what's going on in Raleigh, because a lot of things that are going to come out of the budget are going to be, they're going to affect what we can do with kids. And looking forward to closing this year out and starting another school year on a positive note.
All right, well, so thank you, Dr. Gainey. Thank you again to Eastern Randolph High School for allowing us to come out to their campus today. We thank Randolph Communications, as we do each month, and we thank you to the community for allowing us to share with you the things that are going on in the Randolph County School System. We will see you in April.